Ever have one of those days where, you're just going along and things feel a little off?
Off, yeah.
Yeah. And you kind of wonder, like, is it me? Is it the people around me? Or could it be like something bigger?
Something bigger.
Yeah. Like maybe that giant growing orb in the night sky, the
And the
moon. Like
moon.
that, the moon. Could it actually be messing with our daily
This
routines?
might sound a little out there, I'll grant you that.
I know, right? But that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Diving in. I like it.
We've got some fascinating material here that explores the moon, not just as this pretty light show, but as a potential factor in things like how well we sleep, our overall mood, even our energy levels throughout the day.
And you being the kind of person who loves to wrap their head around interesting ideas and do it quickly, well, this is a chance to really explore something that has captivated humanity for centuries.
Exactly. We're not here to just dismiss it as, like a myth or just some new agey thing. We're going to take a deep dive into the claims being made in this material. We're talking about the moon potentially influencing our emotions, our energy, how productive we are, even some of our
A
behaviors.
shortcut to understanding.
Exactly. We're unpacking it all.
So I think for many, the initial reaction is, wait, the moon affecting me, that's got to be folklore, right?
Right.
But what's interesting is this isn't some brand new idea.
Yeah.
If you look back throughout history, so many different cultures have noticed and even documented this connection between the moon and human behavior.
Absolutely.
Mm.
The text we're looking at even starts there, pointing out how ancient societies were really paying attention. They weren't just, gazing at the moon. They were actually recording what they believed to be its effects.
Hmm.
And I mean, the most obvious example is right there in front of us, the tides.
Of
The
course.
moon's gravitational pull is literally moving oceans, massive amounts of water.
Right.
And then there's things like, fertility cycles, which have long been associated with the lunar cycles.
Right. So this concept of the moon having an effect, it's not new. It goes way back.
Definitely deep roots.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's get a little more specific. Let's talk about sleep. I mean, we all got to sleep right
We
now.
do.
The material we're looking at goes right into this, actually. It talks about the moon's potential impact on our sleep, specifically mentioning these studies that suggest we sleep for shorter periods and have worse sleep quality during a full moon.
Shorter sleep and worse quality. Wow.
Yeah. And they connect this back to the moon's gravitational pull, like with the tides. It's this idea that if it can move oceans, maybe, just maybe, it's doing something to us too.
Subtle effects. Interesting.
Right. And check this out. There's this crazy detail in the material. It talks about reports of more people going to the ER, even being admitted to hospitals during a full moon.
Hold on. More people in hospitals during a full moon? That's a pretty wild
I
connection.
know, right? It makes you think.
Is it just, a coincidence, two things happening at the same time, or is there actually something going on?
Exactly. The material presents it as a possible consequence of how the full moon might be messing with people,
Yeah.
making them more prone to accidents or whatever, sends them to the hospital.
I see. Okay, so we've got the sleep thing. But let's move on to how we feel.
Yeah, moods.
Moods.
I don't know about you, but I have days where it seems like everyone's just a little bit crankier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just on edge.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And the material we have actually suggests that the full moon could be playing a part in that.
Hmm. It actually specifically points to customer service, those folks dealing with the public all the time. And there seems to be this observation of more irritability and anxiety among people during full moons.
More irritability and anxiety, huh?
Yeah, and it presents this not as like isolated incidents, but as more of a pattern.
And it's not just anecdotal, right? It's not just people's feelings.
Yeah.
The text goes on to say that there are actual scientific studies backing this up,
Scientific studies, huh?
showing a link between the moon and our emotions.
That's a pretty big claim. So we're talking about the moon maybe influencing, I don't know, like our emotional regulation or maybe even amplifying existing emotions.
Yeah.
But gotta point out, the material doesn't really get into the details of these studies. So we're kind of taking that claim at face value for now, based on what this source is telling us.
Okay, fair enough. So maybe we're not sleeping as well. Maybe we're a little more on edge during a full moon.
Right.
What about our energy?
Hmm.
That get up and go feeling. The material also explores a possible connection there.
It does, and it gets pretty specific. It talks about the different phases of the moon and how they might line up with our energy levels, like feeling sluggish versus feeling energized.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the contrast it draws is between the new moon and the full moon. So during a new moon, when you can barely see it in the sky, we might feel a dip in energy, less motivation.
Less motivation.
Yeah, but then as the moon grows towards fullness, we supposedly experience this corresponding increase in energy and focus.
It's almost like the moon's setting a natural rhythm for us.
Yeah, exactly, like this natural ebb and flow. And it even describes the full moon as potentially giving us this natural boost of energy, encouraging us to be more active.
A natural boost, huh?
Yeah.
So, like, we should be scheduling all our workouts and big projects around full moons.
Well, that's kind of the idea they're putting forward, that maybe we can sync up with these lunar phases to take advantage of our natural highs and lows. Like lower energy times might be better for introspection and recharging,
Right.
and higher energy times could be better for, well, getting things done, taking action.
Makes sense. Okay, so this next part of the material, it gets even more interesting, like maybe even a little spooky.
Spooky, okay.
Yeah, it talks about the moon's cycles being linked to specific behaviors, especially around the time of, you guessed it, a full moon.
A full moon. Okay, lay it on me. What kind of behaviors?
Well, it claims that there's a significant increase in crimes during a full moon. And not just any crimes, but things like property crimes and disorderly conduct.
So basically, more people acting impulsively, maybe taking more risks.
Exactly. And it attributes this, again, to the moon's energy. Like it's pushing people towards these more impulsive actions.
I see. So the full moon is making us do crazy things.
Well, that's what this source is saying.
Right.
But then it flips the script for the new moon.
Okay, what about the new moon?
It says that during a new moon, people tend to be more introspective, more withdrawn, even more into creative stuff.
So full moon, we're out there raising hell. New moon, we're chilling at home, writing poetry or something.
Pretty much. It's quite a range, right?
It is a pretty big range. It suggests that maybe the moon is impacting us in more ways than we realize. Full moon pushing us outwards, new moon drawing us inwards.
Right. And what I found fascinating is that the material mentions people actually trying to live their lives according to these lunar cycles.
Oh, really? Like planning things around the moon?
Yeah. Scheduling workouts, social gatherings, even business meetings based on whether it's a new moon or a full moon.
Wow. Talk about lunar living. That suggests a real belief in the moon's power, right? Like, if I do this thing during a full moon, it'll be more successful or I'll have more energy.
Exactly. It's about trying to harness the moon's energy, syncing up with its rhythms.
Fascinating. But of course, it does make you wonder, is this actually because of the moon, or is it more like a placebo effect? People believe it, so they feel it.
Right.
It's definitely something to think about.
Okay, so let's try to sum this all up. Based on this source, what's the big takeaway about the moon and our lives?
The core argument is that the moon isn't just some distant object up in the sky. It's an actual force that could be shaping our lives, our routines, our emotions, even our behavior. And the text really pushes this idea that if we pay more attention to the moon, we might be able to make better decisions.
Better decisions. Interesting. So it's not like the moon's controlling us like puppets or anything.
Right. It's more like if we understand these patterns, maybe we can use them to our advantage.
Work with the moon, not against it.
Exactly. Optimize our productivity, handle our moods better,
Yeah.
even just feel more in tune with nature.
I like it. So
Okay.
there you have it. We've gone deep into this material exploring how the moon just might be messing with us in ways we never even realized.
And we went beyond just dismissing it all as, hocus pocus. We looked at some real claims, some interesting research.
We did. Sleep, moods, energy, even our actions, all potentially tied to the moon. So here's a little something for you to consider. As you go about your day, think back to the last full moon or new moon. Did you notice anything different about yourself? Your sleep, your mood, your energy? Did anything line up with what we talked about today? It's not about proving anything, but just observing, maybe being a little more aware. Just something to keep in the back of your mind.
Food for thought.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe we'll dive into more of this lunar stuff in the future. But for now, thanks for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
Until next time.